we don't share the same faith. I'm a Christian, you're a Hindu, and you've centered your campaign on truth.
Yes.
So a question a lot of the caucus goers have is, what truth?
Yes.
Where do you find it? Where do you discover it? And then how do you discern it and how do you apply it?
I think it's a question I'm grateful for, Bob, actually, because we have gone to probably hundreds of events across this state, and we get a lot of questions on policy, and it does feel like a bit of an elephant in the room. And so I'm grateful for the chance to talk about faith, actually. My faith is what gives me my freedom. In many ways, my faith is what led me to this presidential campaign, actually. I'll tell you about why. But let me just tell you about my faith. I haven't talked about this on the campaign trail yet. I'll tell you my faith. I'm Hindu. I believe there's one true God. I believe God put each of us here for a purpose. My faith teaches me that we have a duty, a moral duty, to realize that purpose, that we're God's instruments. He works through us in different ways, but we are still equal because God resides in each of us. That's the core of my faith. I grew up in a pretty traditional household. You'd certainly call, I think, a traditional household. My parents taught me family is the foundation. Respect your parents. Marriage is sacred. Abstinence before marriage is the way to go. Adultery is wrong. Marriage is between a man and a woman. Divorce is not just some preference you opt for. That when you get married, get married before God, and you make an oath to God and you make an oath to your family, that the good things in life involve a sacrifice, that there's more to life than the aimless passage of time. We're here for a purpose, and we pursue that purpose. Now, is that a foreign set of values? Is that a strange set of values? I think it is if you look at parts of America today. I mean, turn on the TV. Go to the movie theater. Go to your local HR session in your corporate DEI training.
We fired that department.
Look, thank you. It's a great service you did. Right? I mean, you could go to universities, go to what they're teaching your kids in public schools. That would feel like foreign values, but I don't think they're foreign values to most Americans in this country. I don't think they're foreign values to those of us who are in this room today. And that's what I would say is that, so I learned, so I went to Christian high school, St. X in Cincinnati. What do we learn? We read the Ten Commandments. We read the Bible, Scriptures class. God is real. There's one true God. Don't take his name in vain. Honor the Sabbath. Respect your parents. Don't lie. Don't steal. Don't bear false witness on your neighbor. Don't covet. Don't commit adultery. What I learned during that time, and I was a young person at that time, is that these values, they're familiar to me. They don't belong to Hindus. But these values, they don't belong to Christians either. They belong to God, actually. And I think they are the values that undergird our country. And so can I be a president who promotes Christianity across this country? I can't, for a number of reasons. I'm not Christian. I don't think that's actually what we should want the U.S. president exactly doing either. That's a job for pastors and others who need to carry that out. But will I stand for those fair values, for those shared values? Will I promote them in the example that we set, revive them in the next generation of Americans? You're darn right I will, because that's my duty. And I think God put us here for a purpose. And one aspect of my faith that I'll just comment on, Bob, is one of our teachings is that we don't choose who God chooses to work through. That's not our choice. That belongs to God. And again, when at St. X High School, when we read the book of Isaiah, that was familiar to me. God chose Cyrus. He was a Persian. He was all the way in Persia, a Gentile, that led the Jews back to the promised land. And so we'll find out what God's plan is, and we will do our part in realizing it. But that's what led me to this campaign, called me into this, as our sense of duty and purpose. And so, yes, we are founded on Judeo-Christian values. They're values that I deeply share. Not as a pastor, but as a president. I think it's my responsibility to make faith and family and hard work and patriotism, but faith included, cool again in this country for the next generation.